Welcome everybody to the Unified Collegiate League. We're in fall 2024, man. It's been it feels like a long year, but at the same time, it's gone by really quickly. We've got some League of Legends action to bring to you tonight. My name is Yanni. I'm joined here by Mechatronic. Mechatronic should have been here last week. Unfortunately, we're not lucky enough to be able to broadcast last week's game. So we are bringing you the first week of action, but it's actually week 2 between two really strong teams in Ohio State University and Virginia Commonwealth University.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch League of Legends. Both of us were here last week. We were ready to watch last week, and we didn't watch. So now we get to actually watch. At least that's what we've been told. So
I hope so.
So I'm very excited to get to watch League tonight. And these two teams are both really good and both really fun to watch. So I'm excited to see them. As this is our first week of casts, I think we'll give a little introduction to what's going on here. It's a three-team league that we've got going on here for the fall. It's VCU, who you'll see tonight, Ohio State, who you'll see tonight, and then Penn State Blue, who you will see not tonight.
Not tonight. We should have saw them last week, but unfortunately there was a bit of a scheduling issue, so that means that Penn State was able to take a win. They did lose their first game of the season, so they're 1-1, and Ohio State also sitting at 1-1. So now Virginia Commonwealth, they're looking to get the second game under their belt here. They did take a loss to Penn State last time out. Fortunately, we mentioned that wasn't streamed because we have a lot of games that we stream throughout the week. And we got a little bit of a schedule for you guys, just so you know that when you can catch all of the unified action and where and what games specifically.
Yes. On Monday, we have a game. I think it's...
There we go. Excellent.
We have on Monday.
Yeah, I knew you knew it.
On Tuesday, Rocket League. Today, Wednesday, we're here. We're watching League of Legends. Tomorrow, I'm still here, and you'll watch Valorant with me. And then on a Friday, we end the week with crew battles and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh, that's pretty dope. They get back-to-back days with you. That's pretty excellent. All of these games can be caught at 8 Eastern. That would be what, 7
Central.
Central, yes.
Yeah.
I'm East Coast. All right. I don't know time zones. Okay, but this will be running until the 8th of November. So nice collegiate action coming at you in all these various titles. Me being a League of Legends caster, I've dabbled in Rocket League and Valorant. Those games are pretty darn great.
A little dabbling.
We do a little dabble do you sometimes, but yeah, so tonight we got League of Legends. We have Ohio State University versus Virginia Commonwealth University, and this Ohio State squad, right, is a very serious squad. They finished second in their group in the Northern Conference in CLAW, right, in the main CLAW League. Northern Conference hosting teams such as St. Louis University and Maryville University. Anybody knows how good they are. And this team competed.
So I want to point out about that North group. The only team they lost to in the North group was Maryville, who just went to the America's Cup down in Brazil.
Yep. Under Dragonsteel. Unfortunately, didn't do as well as we thought they would.
Yeah, but my point here is they're a real good team, and Ohio State only lost to what we are considering a real good team. And they brought 3 players back from that real good team. We've got some rosters here for you all, so that way you can kind of see what's going on across.
Great performances, and that eventually he'd get into the LCS, but things happen in Tier 2 sometimes. Five Fire elected to make sure he takes care of business on his end, go college degree, go play in Collegiate, go have a good time, and carry Ohio State University some dubs.
Yeah, over on the VCU side, so we talked about Ohio State and how they placed well in the North. VCU went and played in the MAEC, which is Mid-Atlantic Esports Conference, I believe. And they placed 3rd place over there. The only returning player, though, is Yetsu in the support role. The rest of this team is new. And we've just been given a little update on the rosters. We will not have Hanigara as the support tonight. It will be either Ruler. Well, it will be Ruler. It just may not be named Ruler.
Yeah, no, it'll be. We're not sure if he's playing under Ruler or Genji Ruler 1, 2, 3, but I can say for some certainty, no need to be alarmed on the other side for VCU. I'd imagine that's not actually Ruler, considering
No.
I'm pretty sure he probably is hunting around in Europe right now, having a good time gallivanting around. But I like how you mentioned that Yetsu was the one returning member, because Yetsu, at least by solo queue rank, and solo queue is solo queue, but you do have to take some stock in it. The best player on this VCU team was Grandmaster, I believe, at the beginning of last season, or after the first split. About 6, almost 700 LP. A very legitimate player they have at support.
Yeah, it's a really legitimate player, and I think the rest of their team has some really interesting pieces around them. You'll see Xiaolong is a huge Viego player. We have been in this season for like a week and a half. Guys played 35 Viego games already. It's an insane amount of Viego games, and I would be surprised either if we don't see it banned or picked at all tonight. And then their top laner in Trancing has played so much Gwen recently, which I think is a really interesting thing as well.
Yeah, this dude pretty much only plays Gwen. He's got one. No, he plays a lot of Vladimir. This is Gwen and Vladimir. He's got 1.8 million mastery points on Gwen, by the way. And he's cresting 1 million on Vladimir. This guy is very serious about his AP top laners. Probably some of the most annoying ones to go against, too. You pick any tanks against him, he is going to shred you on the Gwen, something that Ohio State is going to have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and across the board, right? I feel like Ohio State has really good champion pools. When you and I did our prep, we kind of looked around at what the champion pools were, and we're talking about these two players on VCU having these really good one tricks, right? I would consider a Gwen and a Viego player like this towards the one trick area. Ohio State, though, this team just kind of goes all over the place with what they play. Just take Cyborg, for example, right? Plays a lot of Camille, but he's also been playing Smolder, he's also been playing Zeri, he's also been playing Gangplank, Jace, Jack. Basically, if you can think of a top laner, he's probably been playing it recently.
Yeah, and I really like when players do that, because you get the wide pool to be able to pick from. Just really helps your team out, makes you a better all-around player when it comes to draft strategy and things like that. But listen, if you're good at what you're good at and you get your champion and you run over the game, it doesn't matter how versatile your opponent is. That's what VCU is going to be aiming to do today. One other programming note is that Xiaolong is not going to be playing today. It'll be Baby Gromp who will be there. I believe Darken is his hashtag for League. They introduced the hashtags. What do you think about them? The Riot ID, it being a max 5-letter hashtag. Your thoughts?
Well, I have some issues and some likes with it, which relate to the system as a whole. Because my name in game used to be I am Rockenough, and I thought that was an excellent name, and that had to go on my Smurf account because I couldn't have that as the main account anymore. Because I wanted the main account to be Mechatronic, because I play both Valorant and League. So
that makes sense.
So that got relegated to the secondary account. So I'm a little annoyed that they're all the same all over the place, but on the other hand, it's probably a good thing for the future, and I get to look at it that way.
My League of Legends name wasn't always Yanni, right? There was a couple other things, but eventually I made it I am Yanni because Yanni was taken, right? And this was like in season 4.
Yeah.
Right? Season 4, and I waited, 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 and I got it finally 2 weeks before they announced the change to Riot tags. The guy had not played enough time. He hadn't played any games in a while. It finally expired. I got Yanni. 2 weeks later, we're switching it to tags, so you can just, be whatever you want with a different tag. I'm like, are you serious? I waited that long? I waited years to try to get this name and couldn't get it.
Yeah, I definitely I have some friends that were kind of in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
Mechatronic's a little bit of a unique name, so
Yeah.
I've been clear on that.
Seems like you didn't have a problem. I like
No,
the
I
tag
didn't.
part because the tag I just put Yanni #casts.
You know what? You could actually put Yanni #Yanni. It's short.
I
enough.
could, but if I do Yanni #casts, all they have to do is replace that with the @ symbol, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
they find my Twitter eventually. But
Yeah.
so
I've got
Oh.
ATO there, my old esports.
okay,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Just waiting to get into the draft between these two teams. I imagine there's going to be a lot of. All right, so there's already a lot of changes, obviously, right? With
Yeah.
the support change on the side of Ohio State and the jungle change on the side of VCU. I think that probably favors Ohio State. Obviously support is a large impact role in competitive, but jungle is too, and it's almost equal. And
Yeah.
I think this Ohio State team is, pretty good when it comes to their skill level, and they're being led by Fire and his wealth of competitive experience, that they'll be advantaged despite both teams being a little shorthanded tonight.
I mean, let's just look at some math here really quickly. VCU has one player returning as their support player. Everyone else is new to this team.
Mhm.
Ohio State, even with their sub to the sport, has 3 players returning, and they're all here tonight.
3 is definitely greater than 1.
3 is greater than 1. So that's kind of where my head is on today, is that we look at this team that is this Ohio State team we saw them do well in CeeLo last season, and they're returning 3 of their really important players, right? The one thing you can't make up is mid-jungle synergy. It just comes with playing.
Patch, right? Like the durability's still there. They actually tapped down some of the durability, but they just took away more of the damage. And control mages now reign supreme in the mid lane, which I love. Maybe we'll see. Yeah, I was
so good right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we'll see the time-honored tradition of Orianna Syndra head-to-head. Renekton gonna get taken off the board, so I like that VCU is going after these champions that can be flexed around a little bit depending on the matchup, and mostly aimed at the solo laners of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. This Commonwealth ban would be a little bit interesting here. That Skarner ban, we saw there's a little bit of Skarner in the history for Xiaolong. Now, obviously, we talked about how the VCU jungler is not the same as we had expected, but Skarner just seems to be a good champion right now, in general. And so we'll see the Skarner get banned probably over and over again. The Viego is a shared champion between both teams. This Viego should get banned every single time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is shared, but at the same time, we've got a substitute for Xiaolong, so it's like, it still could be. I'd expect every jungler should be able to play Viego in their pool without an issue, but we'll see what VCU goes after first. Given the fact that AD carries are a little weak, getting an early pick is pretty nice. This Jinx, Ohio State, they're going to be able to really focus fire down this champion because that is a first pick.
It's a Jinx with no help to start. And I know we're on the very first pick, but Ohio State can now take 2 picks and try and see what can they do against the Jinx. And anytime you put a Jinx in the comp, you're not going to play weak side Jinx. It's just not a thing, right? You're going to play strong side Jinx. You're going to make sure that you take your jungler, bring him down to bot lane, try and push stuff. This is a handshake as old as Aphelios here. The Jinx Aphelios handshake. Kind of saying
crazy.
Both teams want to scale. Lulu is probably the best pairing, the best enchanter pairing that you can get with Aphelios. And if you're going to go this way, Ohio State's thrown down the carry gauntlet in the bot lane.
I'm so shocked because while Lulu is one of the best enchanters on the patch, Aphelios is legitimately the worst AD carry on the patch.
Aphelios is not good right now.
I was looking at the win rates at the tier lists, consistently the worst. Literally, I'm so surprised because I saw them hover the Ashe, and Ashe one of the better ones. These utility AD carries are really strong right now, and both of these teams saying, utility AD carries, never heard of her. We're going full carry. We're putting the carry back in AD carry, and you know what? For game one, I'm happy to see it as an AD carry, man. It warms my heart.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I mean, so Milio's going to act kind of the same way Lulu acts in this matchup, just trying to buff up, heal, shield the carries, make sure they can get through lane really safe. The question is what comes through on this third pick here for VCU, because this will be the start of solo lanes or the jungle. And this is going to kind of direct where Ohio wants to go with the rest of this, and where both teams go with their bans. No, there won't be any supports. There won't be any bot laners banned in the second half. The Jarvan is a very safe pick right now. That's a lot of engage for VCU.
Yeah, I like it. You've got not only the disengage with Emilio, the hard engage with the Jarvan. Try to trap Aphelios. That's a bit of a double-edged sword sometimes. If Aphelios gets really strong, he'll just drop his ultimate on your face and absolutely blow you up. If this Nocturne gets picked here, I would find that very interesting, because then that would mean that maybe an Orianna would get banned, but we'll see Aurora come through. I like this one a lot more, Mechatronic.
Yeah, so do I. And this Aurora could really go either place. I do expect it to go to 5-Fire in the mid lane. I don't think Cyborg really plays it, but it has been a flex between the mid and the top, just generically. But I do expect this to go to mid lane. So we should see top laners being banned out. You see the Syndra banned out from Ohio. They want to make sure that this Aurora has a good time in lane. It doesn't get destroyed early game.
Yeah, anything that can outrange you, that it can, put pressure on you in lane, I imagine is going to be taken off the board. Anything that's got good setup with Jarvan too, right? Maybe we'll see an Orianna get taken away here. We all know that Jarvan Ori, the ball delivery system, off the board as expected. Taking a look at the other side, the Nasus ban is quite interesting. I think the Nasus would have fit very well into the Ohio State comp, mostly because you've got the Aphelios to the late game, but Aurora can do a lot in the early to mid game. So I like the fact that VCU taking that off the board. I'm pretty okay with their draft so far. They've been doing some good scouting.
Yeah, I'm. The Nasus ban's a little weird. Feels like Nasus ban's a couple patches old. That Master Yi is going to continuously get banned against Ohio State. Miller's a big Master Yi player. I expect to just see that get banned the entire season.
Listen, I'm so glad. I don't want to see that champion in these games. I hate that champion. I hate watching that champion, because if this champion just goes wild, it either means you made a draft error or you just played it pretty incorrectly. Hecarim going to be the pick here for Ohio State. There's your engage go button, and if you get a nice little follow-up out of your top laner, you'll be pretty happy, or out of your mid laner, depending on where this Aurora goes.
There's the Vlad hover. I actually expect to see this get locked in, and this would be a top lane Vlad.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. The Hecarim, I feel like there's better forms of engage in the jungle that you could have picked here. But I'm kind of nitpicking there on this Hecarim in the draft.
Yeah, well, this Vladimir going to get picked, which means Ohio State, they have the opportunity for counter pick. But
that Kiana,
I don't know if that's what you want to go for.
The best Garchomp is a huge Kiana player. I did not expect it to get picked. I'd like to note that in my notes it says Kiana LOL next to it, because I really did not think that this Kiana would get picked here. But there's a lot of comfort on the VCU side already.
Yeah, they've gotten the champions that they want. Now on the Ohio State side, the most interesting thing to me is where these solo laners are going to go. Obviously, they make the swap on your screen to Aurelia. We'll see if they end up locking it in. They do. Yeah, so I'm interested to see where these champions go, right? You could always send Aurora into the top lane to go into the Vladimir and have the range versus range matchup and make it a little bit more difficult, potentially force Vladimir under his turret. And Aurelia should be tanky enough to avoid getting absolutely bursted out by Kiana, but we'll see what these teams elect to do. These are some pretty solid drafts. Kiana ultimate with Jarvan ultimate. Very, very good.
Yeah, there's one tank in this lobby.
Yep.
It's just the Jarvan.
I mean, I don't even know if he's a tank, man. I gotta be honest.
He's Jarvan, the tankiest.
Jarvan's like thick, right? He's not like, he's like a little burly, but he's not like a tank like he used to be.
No, he's not. But
he builds those good fighter items that are tanky.
Here's the thing, I wouldn't be surprised in this game if Jarvan went Iceborne Gauntlet. I wouldn't be surprised if he went Iceborne into Frozen Heart. Just because of this team comp that he's against the Aurelia and the Aphelios. Frozen Heart is a big item against both.
definitely not the worst item in the world. I can definitely see what you're cooking here.
Yeah.
The one problem that I think this VCU team runs into is their lack of CC, right? You've got your Jarvan knockup. You've got the Cataclysm, which Cataclysm, let's be honest with ourselves, is not hard CC. If you think Cataclysm is hard CC, you got another thing coming. So now your other CC is Jinx Choppers and Kiana Ultimate and Emilio kicking somebody and knocking them back slightly. That's not going to get the job done against an Aphelios, against an Aurelia. These champions, I expect them to roll over VCU very easily this game.
So there actually is a weird interaction that goes on here with Kiana and Jarvan. Jarvan can throw Cataclysm down, and Kiana can stun everyone in Cataclysm with her ult. And I'm not saying that you should be relying on that in terms of engage your CC, but it seems to kind of be that's where they are. Cataclysm is going to be the big deal here, though, because you'll see Jarvan throw a Cataclysm down, which just puts all the enemy champions in this like little walled pit. Vladimir is going to go in and try and heal as much as he can off of him. Kiana's going to try and do as much damage with the ultimate and just jump it across. And Jinx and Milio are there to free fire and do whatever they can with it. The problem is, once you get out of that Cataclysm, I have concerns.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I have concerns that Jinx is not going to be able to free fire this game, right? Because Hecarim and Aurelia, you've got a pair of dive buddies that are going to go in and cause a lot of problems. And the zone control that an Aurora can provide, a Lulu can provide, should be enough to kind of quell the Jarvan and the Kiana. We're going to need to see this Vladimir. We're going to need to see Entrancing find some really strong flanks to be able to get on the back line unabated this game in order to win.
It really feels like if you don't survive the initial burst here from VCU, if you can survive it as Ohio, you will be okay, right? You'll win a fight over time with these champions that Ohio State have. But if you can't survive the initial burst that VCU gives you, it's going to be a very quick game. It really truly depends on how quickly can the Vladimir and the Kiana get ahead in mid and top respectively. And is an Aurora and Aurelia, the Aurora is so new that you can't, I don't even know what the matchup is between Aurora and Kiana. Kiana has not been a particularly excellent champ for a very long time, and Aurora is new. As for the Aurelia Vladimir matchup, I do not know a single person who's played that matchup in years and years and years. I could not even begin to explain how this matchup goes.
Honestly, I couldn't either. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you because, you know, I'm not sure if the data's quite there. I don't know how many competitive games there have been between an Aurora and a Kiana. So let's take a look at, you know, what every team needs to succeed. You know, you mentioned it a little bit here. It feels like you need Jinx and Vladimir to scale up, get this Vladimir into an easy lane, you know, have your Jarvan ward well for him, and utilize the strength of Kiana Jarvan in the early game as a mid-jungle duo. Because Aurora Hecarim, while they're pretty strong, AP champions typically in the early game not as strong as AD champions in terms of raw damage output. So if VCU can utilize this Kiana, this Jarvan, parlay that into map strength to allow your scaling carries to scale and eventually carry the game, they'll be all right. They really just want to fight to force people off, but not actually fight for any objectives.
I mean, here's the thing. You should see Jarvan go mid 3 times in the first 10 minutes. If Jarvan's not going mid 3 times in the first 10 minutes to try and get this Kiana ahead, to try and force the Aurora to use the ult at every single possibility that wins up, to burn Aurora Flash, to, if Aurora has a teleport, to burn Aurora Teleport, they should be focusing this Aurora early to get the Kiana ahead. Vladimir will kind of be okay in top lane. The more and more I've thought about this, right, you're a ranged champion into a melee champion, even though
Aurelia, we're not sure.
Yeah. Well, if it's a Vladimir Aurelia lane, right, you're a ranged champion into a melee champion, and you also have a lot of healing on the Vladimir, so you can keep up with some of the poke that Aurelia may hit on you by just kind of tapping you with a Q or using the defense curl. So yeah, it feels like the Kiana needs to get ahead really, really early and go from there.
Yeah, you know, I can agree with that. I don't necessarily think this Kiana needs to snowball out of control because she's not going to be the late win condition.
No,
I think that there's enough on Ohio's side that even if this Kiana gets ahead, gets 2 or 3 kills, they'll be able to stuff because they have plenty of CC, and Jinx and Vladimir won't be able to take advantage.
There's a lot of CC on Ohio.
There is so much CC.
There's so much
Average CC in Ohio right now, to be quite honest with you. But we didn't really talk about the Ohio side very much, and their composition is very similar in function to VCU. You've got your late game carries in Aurelia and Aphelios, with your early game damage dealer in Aurora, and a solid damage-based jungler with a lot of CC in Hecarim. The only difference really between these comps is the CC, and Aurelia tends to come online a little bit earlier than Vladimir.
Yeah, the thing with Hecarim is, while in this specific composition matchup here, I expect the Jarvan to build tankier, I do not expect the Hecarim to build tankier. I expect fighter items here. I expect a Sundered Sky. I expect a Sterix Gauge. Maybe even an Eclipse somewhere in there, depending on how well the Hecarim does early. But I expect like 80 damage items for this Hecarim.
Yeah, this is the like we mentioned, the Ohio State team being very similar to this VCU team. They are, they're not tanky themselves either. They're thick, right? They're a little thicker.
Yeah.
But they're what I like to call like a lean team composition, because let's be honest with ourselves. Aurelia is not that tanky of a champion. Later on, she can get a little bruiser-ish, right? Where she's, at least a little bit harder to take down. And Hecarim typically builds in the same vein as Jarvan typically would. But naturally, in this game, we think that Jarvan, it might behoove him a little bit more to go toward a tankier option.
Is this the game?
Oh, are we there? Are we finally here?
Are we there?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn.
Looks like Ohio State have a little bit of a comp diff to start, but I'm not tied down on that.
Lots of skirmishing back and forth, but everything's all right for everybody. They're staying alive.
I'm going to see early lane here from the Aurora and the Kiana. I don't expect anything huge and massively different here. Just, a little bit of stuff going on. Some farming as per usual.
All right, so we see that Jarvan on the top side here, Hecarim on the bottom side. So it means that they're, going in opposite directions here. Hecarim really wants to either make an early impact on the bottom lane. This bot lane pushing doesn't look like that'll be possible. And he might want to do something to this top lane, get this Aurelia ahead, and, put this Vladimir into his misery. Oh, Vladimir taking a lot of damage here. Aurelia flashing forward and is going to pick up first blood. I told you, Mechatronic, that we might see Aurelia come in and just deal a bunch of damage to this Vladimir and take him out.
Yeah, I mean, the Aurelia is really good early in that case, especially when you can get a lot more of the minions early. Get a little bit stronger. Had a little level advantage there as well.
All right, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here, so give us just a moment. We're going to take a very short break, literally maybe Welcome back, everybody, to the Unified Collegiate League for Fall 2024. We have fixed our slight technical issues, and thank you for your patience, so we can hopefully get back into this game with Ohio State University already picking up a kill onto that Aurelia against the Vladimir. It's going to make life really, really hard for VCU Mechatronic.
Yeah, I think it will make life hard for everyone, except Vladimir's got a kill right back.
Oh, you know what? That happens
So
sometimes.
maybe
somebody
it's less
definitely Somebody definitely greeted here.
All right, so we're gonna now see this little bot lane matchup. The Jinx is really low. You expect the Jinx to get healed up a little bit from this Milia sitting right there, but there's not a huge amount of mana across the board, and they're just gonna try and shove this wave in.
Yep, and we'll take a holistic look of things real quick. So 5 fire without a flash, but best Garchomp with a death. So 21 CS lead for the former EG Academy mid laner. In the mid lane specifically, no summoners for Entrancing either, and down about 20 CS. And you see Miller is already heading up to the top side of the map. Mechatronic, I've got a feeling in a couple minutes we're going to see this Vladimir die again.
Yeah, I think this Vladimir will die again. I'm a little concerned about 5 fire and the fact that he's got grasp.
I'm a little concerned about a lot of things.
The grasp is a little interesting. We're in mid lane. Won't do a huge amount yet, but that's a lot of damage back onto Garchomp.
I actually like the grasp because you're going to be in combat a lot with your ability to poke. And given the fact that you're going up against an assassin mid laner, it's going to make it really hard for you to die. I mean, look at how much HP 5 fire has. That is a ruby crystal, and then whatever he's gotten off grasp. The best Garchomp could be level 6 and is going to be like, I don't think I can kill this guy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's your entire goal there with Kiana is to just kill the guy with one burst, with one set of abilities, or one rotation, or 2 rotations of abilities, as many as you can get down. And it's going to be very hard for them to do it with 5 fire being so tanky.
Cyborg's going to die this lane. He's level 6. This is a big wave crashing in. Trancing taking a lot of damage. I imagine he might go for it, but it looks like he'll pull off. They'll head over to pick up the grubs, and you're going to see a lot of value out of the grubs. This 5 fire going all the way in between worlds, getting a solo kill onto the best Garchomp. 0 IV Garchomp.
That's disgusting right there. I shouldn't be allowed to do that. Champions shouldn't be allowed to do stuff like that. They will get a dragon in return for that death in the mid lane, but the dragon's not worth that much this early, especially the first dragon. It will be a little lopsided matchup there.
Yeah, I mean, it is an Infernal Dragon, right? So you'll get that 4% later on. You'll really feel it a little bit, but you know, when compared to grubs, when you're staring down an Aurelia that's got 3 grubs right now, I mean, VCU is going to have to do a lot to make sure that they can take that second set of grubs to avoid the Might spawns. As Baby Gromp coming through, landed the knockup on to the Light. The Light forced to flash away, but he's going to fall anyway. It's a 3v2, but a lot of damage coming down as it is Miller time, and he's trying to pop off. Shield's going off into Lulu, but Lulu falls. It's now a 3v1. Miller's whittling him low. He's going to pick up one. Yetsu is going to be the next target. Baby Gromp is low on mana, but so is Miller. Miller gets knocked back as Yetsu lives with a sliver, and he's trying to get on top of him, but that horse is not amazing, getting kited out. It looks like he'll be able to walk that one away. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Cyborg and Entrancing trading off a little bit more. Thirsty for kills are both these teams. 5 fire continuing to get a push in the mid lane here, going to be able to pick up his second plate 7.5 minutes into the game without any assistance. He's done a great job, and that's really what happens when you have such a strong player on your team. Ohio State University really happy to have this guy who can go toe-to-toe with some of the best, but, you know, can take out anybody that they need to. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, we're back. Oh, excellent. We got the overlay. We got the overlay. Rod of Ages getting built up here at 4-5 fire. I love that this guy's name is Hanwha Life Esports Delight. That is absolutely hilarious, but 8.5 minutes into the game, a near 3,000 gold lead for the side of Ohio State University. So we'll see if there's anything that VCU can do. I know you guys may be seeing the overlay. The overlays are swapped, so just a reminder that Ohio State University is on the red side VCU is on the blue side, and the scaling that's going to come out for the side of VCU is not going to be getting there, really. I mean, this Vladimir, despite having a kill, only at 36 CS. It's going to be a big problem for him. Bot lane's now hitting level 6. As Miller is up here in the top lane, the engagement going to go into Entrancing. He's going to drop the ultimate. Now is in a pool. Cyborg is going to get bursted here and take a lot of damage. The question is, can he live? He won't. Entrancing gets the kill. Flashes under the turret. No way he trades here. No way Entrancing wins that. A double kill in the 2v1. And all of a sudden, it could be a Vladimir game as Firefire able to escape the gank. But it doesn't matter. VCU getting the better end of the deal. See if they want to potentially try and dive with the Kiana ultimate available. It looks like they'll back off. As in the bottom lane, Yetsu trading his health bar for a lot of pushing power, but still 20 CS up for the side of Ohio State. Despite having a kill for VCU's bot lane, they haven't been able to do a whole lot. They've been getting pushed off, and the scaling is pretty even. Ultimate going down as Delight kills Yetsu from about a screen away.
Yeah, that's what happens when you got green gun, man. The green gun it's such long range, and the second you hit one shot with it, you can hit the second one on that Q.
Yep, Aphelios, 200 years. Feels like 2,000 years because that champion can just do some real disgusting things. Void Grub's second spawn is up, and guess what? Right on time, Ohio State is up there. Baby Gromp couldn't play for it. They elected to play toward their bot side here, so it's going to be 6 Grub, Aurelia, Mechatronic. That is going to be a terror and a side lane.
Yeah. Anytime that you have a side laner that can actually side lane for the whole game, right? Like a Vladimir, it's really scary. It's really, really scary. And it hurts so much, the fact that Vladimir is insanely good in team fights at dealing damage to a group of people.
Yeah, and you know what? We talked about how if he finds flanks, like this will be the way that VCU is able to get the job done. But we'll see if that's an option. It's from downtown, handsomest Korean getting the kill with the Super Mega Death Rocket. They want to look for Delight next. Miller is in the area. Would be a 2v3. It looks like VCU won't get anything more as they're coming in with quick strikes here, Mechatronic. They're doing everything they can to pull themselves back in it.
They're doing the right stuff across the entire board here, right? And you see Cyborg going in on Trancing, but the pool is going to be used to just get away a little bit. I would like to note the irony that the player with the name Delight is in fact playing AD carry.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely hilarious.
I think it's excellent. And Delight kind of had an opportunity there to use the red and white guns. The saying, if you've played any amount of League of Legends, is red-white fight. You want to fight when you've got the red-white guns on Aphelios. You do a lot of lifesteal, you do a lot of damage. And he wasn't able to be able to fight there. So Yuntal will be the first purchase on the Aphelios, and they'll just kind of see if they can use that to best effect.
Hextech Drake going to get secured by the side of Ohio State, so they break up any potential dragon stacking. Cloud Drake going to be the soul in the map, which is going to heavily benefit the Sekirum, actually, in those quadrants. Going to get a little bit of extra damage. It's one of the things that usually never comes up, but whenever it does, I'm always happy to see it, as they're looking to potentially make a play down here on to the bottom lane of VCU. Miller is lying in wait. Delight trying to get the wave in. He's going to go all the way deep. They're going to make Yetsu the target. The exhaust goes on the wrong target, and Delight is able to pick up the kill.
Was that a Q with it? Was that a crit Gravitum kill?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen Gravitum actually get a kill. That's the purple gun for Aphelios, is used for pure CC. People that farm with Gravitum are... Okay, yeah. I guess it's an auto attack, but its main use is CC, as we see the Jarvan trying to go in on the Aurora here, but yeah, Aurora's got a lot of health. Good flash.
Yep, nice flash there, and he's going to try to turn it around. He's going to drop down between worlds. This past Garchomp going to get chunked out for quite a bit. All right, we're going to see Miller come into that fight. Meanwhile, in the top lane, they're just going at it. Garchomp able to find a way out, but Baby Gromp going to be the next target. He was forced to flash away. God, what a large amount of damage. Firefire now 3-0. He's going crazy.
Yeah, Firefire is really good at using the lead that he's gotten already. You saw really early he was up 15-20 CS in this lane against the
hold on. Hold on, Delight. And the 2v1
Oh, no.
is just going to straight up
no.
win the 2v1. This is disgusting. I've never seen Yuntal Wild Arrows do so much damage before in my life. And Delight is having a delightful time in the bot lane.
I'm sorry, I've never seen Unital Wild Arrows. Up until this patch, the item was not good.
It still isn't. That's the crazy part, Mechatronic.
You're buffing
it
this
still
item.
sucks. The item is still bad. And yet, it doesn't matter.
It's such a bad item that I feel that we kind of should explain what it does, because even if you're actively playing League of Legends right now and you're actively an AD carry, you don't build this item, right?
Super simple.
It does
Super
bleed
simple.
on crits.
Yep, that's it. You get bleed on crits, and it doesn't stack.
No.
The bleed is a lot, and I actually thought that first item, Yuntal Wild Arrows, was going to be the build for this patch. But it's really just not that good. But I'm glad that Delight is having a great time with it and is doing a ton of damage with it. Because, you know, I had my doubts. But you know what? Maybe Mechatronic, I was right all along. Riftchild going to get picked up for the side of the Ohio State University. And, you know, just want to check in at this point in the game. You know, your late game carry is... Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Fire finds himself in a little bit of trouble, taking a lot of damage. But he is going to get ulted by the Lulu. He's still upright for right now. So 4v3 is Garchomp trying to get in the fight, but Cyborg is coming in from the side. From the side of VCU, they're grouped up a little bit. Cyborg flashing forward. He wants to go all the way in. He's going to target Hands of his Korean. Garchomp trying to zone everybody away. Knockback onto Cyborg, but he's getting the shields. Garchomp goes away from the team, and Miller goes super deep. And it's a 2-0 for right now. Baby Gromp trying to knock him up to get away. Yetsu has to try to run, but he's too slow. You can't outrun the horse, and Fire is going crazy. Delight taking a 1v1 against the top laner, but he's going to fall, and Trancing getting a big shutdown.
All right, where do we even start with that? Let's start with the little side fight that happened in the top lane. You just saw the Delight up against Entrancing, the Vladimir up into the Aphelios. This Vladimir just so much healing, and Aphelios just didn't have the most amazing guns in the world to be able to take that fight. It felt like a heat check. It felt like a basketball player taking a 3-point from 10 feet back just to see if they can make it.
That was the Kyle Korver heat check, baby. I know, Paul. Don't you worry.
Kyle Korver would not have been my choice there, but I get we can go with Kyle Korver.
What, have you
that
never
was a
seen?
little bit of a heat check.
Wait, did you never see the clip where he hits like 7 threes in like 3 minutes?
I think this was more Nick Young mid game. Okay.
You don't know the true heat check one. I got to put you onto that when we're on break.
No,
between
I know
games.
the true heat check. But Delight didn't hit the shot.
No,
here.
absolutely not. He airballed it. He was
Right.
yeah, he airballed that. Well, it was close, but he just thought he didn't need to use his ultimate in that fight, and unfortunately, he found out the hard way.
And then at the same time, this 4v4 that happened in the bot lane, you saw that Garchomp got pulled away from the rest of his team towards the red bot tower, really towards the end of that fight. And you saw Garchomp just kind of walking around in the middle of the fight, trying to do any sort of damage, but because the Kiana isn't great right now in the meta, because the only items that this Kiana has is a Tiamat and a Serrated Dirk, then it becomes really hard for her to deal damage. So once that ultimate is gone, you have to wait for your abilities to come all the way back around. And it's really difficult to be able to do much in the fight. Considering the Kiana and the Jinx were the two big damage dealers there, and Kiana couldn't do anything, she was out of the fight really early, it became really difficult to fight on the VCU side. As the drag gets slain by Lulu.
He's fine. Everything's all good. Another dragon going over to the Ohio State University. I mean, it's a very, very tough gold deficit right now. Spyfire going to drop the ultimate down. Miller getting rooted. Baby Gromp in the middle of the team is Entrancing, is trying to do more, trying to heal up, trying desperately to deal some damage. Spyfire below half HP, but it's not really enough. There's nothing more that VCU can actually do.
No, there isn't. There isn't anything that VCU can actually do there. They don't have the engage, right? We talked about this early, that there's not a huge amount of CC on VCU. You're kind of looking there for Jarvan ultimate, and you're kind of looking for Kiana ultimate. And that's about where your CC ends, unless you're really thinking about Jinx chompers to do much. As Cyborg does go down, and that's another kill on Vladimir.
That's a shutdown?
5-kill Vladimir.
Wait, he was 2-2-1. That's a shutdown. That's how many plates he got, how much CS he's up. That's crazy. And the fact that it goes over to Vladimir is actually really good for VCU. I mean, you want to take a look back at what we thought. We're waiting for the late game carries to hit their carry points. I mean, Entrancing is going to get there, Mechatronic.
No, he's gonna get there. He's the only person I'm very convinced right now will get there for VCU. He's got 125 CS. Obviously, he had a really difficult time in the lane against Aurelia, but Bestromp's gonna go down. No, he doesn't do any damage.
Do anything. Get away, Garchomp, get away. Oh, the ice type is a little too strong. Ice beam coming out from Aurora. Knock up onto Baby Gronk. Meanwhile, Miller in the middle of 3 members, exhausted. But Fire is sneaking around and looking to do damage. The light on the other side, and they're gonna pop Korean from the side like a pimple. They squeezed him from both sides. Yetsu is gonna fall. Baby Gromp is gonna be the next target. He finds his way out, but Fire will eventually find his man, picking up a double kill. An absolute wipe of VCU. But Entrancing got 2 on the backside.
Entrancing's still alive too, and he's got a lot of health. So expect to see Entrancing kind of try and take on Fire here. This is carry on carry action.
You can't get close. The slows from Aurora are just a little too strong, and it's really bad. And Vladimir can't deal with that. It's the mid-inner turret going to fall. It's more gold going over. Hey, despite the fight looking okay for VCU at times, they lost another 2,000 in gold. They're now down 10k.
I'm looking at the Vladimir build for the first time here. A Rabadon's first item is something I've seen.
It's a choice.
It is a lot of straight AP to start the game, right? It is just a lot of pure stat stick in your face. But the thing with Rabadon's death cap, if you don't know, is it increases your AP by your total AP by a percentage. It's a really good capstone item. It's a really good 3rd, 4th item when you've got a bunch of AP already and you want to exponentially increase. It just doesn't have as much value to start the game. And it feels like a Rift Maker or Leandry's, or even an item that I don't particularly rate very high, the Hextech Rocket Belt, could have been a better start here for the Vladimir to give it a little bit better of a lane. But what am I to say to a 7-1 Vladimir here?
It's a little hard, right? Because if you go some of these other items, while they provide more utility, you're not getting as much raw damage. And it feels like in this particular game against the Ohio State University that you might just need the raw damage, and you're going to need to really be smart about how you use your summoner spells and your abilities to be able to get to the backline. Instead of having like a Rocket Belt as an example, which will get you easier backline access, but less damage. You need to be able to kill some of these key members. So while it is a little unorthodox to see a Rabadon's first, I don't necessarily hate it. In this particular, like, this is like the one circumstance.
Yeah, there's going to be about 7 different qualifiers to the sentence here.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's like a flow chart, and it's in the bottom corner of the flow chart. You know, enemy team starting Baron at 21 minutes. Okay, maybe you can go Rabadon's death cap this game. But no vision to be had by the side of VCU. They likely have no idea that this is happening, and they're going to find out the hard way in a minute when it says Baron has been slain. The entirety of Ohio State is wearing purple.
It was a really quick Baron too, right? You only had 3 members there. You had the Lulu buffing up the Aphelios, and you had the Hecarim taking most of the damage. But it was a really quick Baron because of the Eclipse for the Hecarim, making sure that he got some shielding in there.
White gun for Aphelios too.
Yeah, white gun for Aphelios. The green item that I, for some reason, cannot remember the name of that Aphelios.
Spear of Shojin.
Spear of Shojin. I could not tell you why I couldn't remember the name of it, but Spear of Shojin right there, giving a lot more AD to Hecarim's attacks, including the Q that he is spamming enough to get carpal tunnel syndrome from.
Yeah, that's helicopter Hecarim to you. You know, he walks around, he spins it around. He's much like Jax in that sense. Dragon coming up here, Ohio State going to take this one out with relative ease. Maybe Baby Gromp will try a steal again, but it looks like he won't. He'll back off and clear out some wards. As Fire continues to push on the top side, one ability chunks out Garchomp. That means this top inner turret will fall. More gold. Their pockets are spilling over, Mechatronic.
Yeah, there's not a really bad thing for them to do right now, the Ohio State side, right? They're taking the objectives, they're winning the game how you're supposed to win the game. If you looked at a textbook and went, hey, we have a 11,000, almost 12,000 gold lead. What are we supposed to do to win this game? Well, you go get Baron, you go get Drags, you force your gold lead a little bit higher, you push in the lanes, you make sure you get them synced up so that way it's really hard for the enemy team to get them. They're syncing the lanes up, right? You see the top lane and the mid lane starting to get synced up here. You see inhib towers starting to get hit.
Yeah, and nobody can match Fire, and it's really hard to match the light on the other side, so all they can do is watch their structures fall. And Trancing doing a lot of damage with the Tides of Blood, but trying to get a little bit closer. Wants to drop that Hemoplague. He's going to pop the Ghost. He's going to go for it. He's tagged the Aphelios. He just needs to get to him as he's running out of steam. They're going to go on top of the Lulu, who uses her ultimate and just get bursted out. Miller's going to be the next target, but he's going unstoppable, running away. Double kill for the Jinx, as this fight might not be over, but they can't take down Cyborg. Delight gets bursted a lot. He gets smited. He goes down. Five Fire is the last one standing, and he's got to try to run away. He's kiting it out and will be able to walk away, but it's a triple kill for the Jinx. And Trancing doing so much. Five Fire sidestepping, trying to win this fight single-handedly, but will be forced away as VCU is not out of this game yet.
No, not only was that just a good fight that they took, and Trancing took a lot of cooldowns from everyone to start that fight and let the Jinx get that triple kill, but they did it against the team in purple, right? Ohio State still had Baron up on all 5 of their members as they go through that fight. It is...
Teleport from behind.
If you ask me when you want to take a fight, that's not when you want to take a fight.
Teleport in the mid lane here. Five Fire, full HP. Now looking at 2 very low, juicy targets. Does get kicked back, so they're going to at least try to waste a lot of time, force these members out. And Trancing looks like he's not going to be able to find a way out. He's going to run right into Five Fire and get bursted out.
Ooh, Baby Gromp is down here, and it's only a Lulu right here, but at this point, this Lulu is actually quite strong and quite tanky on her own. Locket as a first item. I haven't seen a Locket as a first item on a Lulu in a really long time. You see stuff like Moonstone Renewer. You see this, not Cyrilda's. I've forgotten all my items here. Staff of Flowing Water.
Oh my god, hold on. Handsome is Korean. Doesn't matter how handsome you are, you take a lot of damage. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, inhibitor going down, top side inhibitor going down as well. Didn't get to see it, but Cyborg did TP to that top side, so minions will begin to spill into the base of VCU, and despite them winning that last fight, Virginia Commonwealth has no turrets left but their Nexus turrets.
There's no turrets left of the Nexus turrets, but there's no waves except for the middle wave right now, so they've got a couple seconds of reprieve. A couple being the operative words here.
Yeah,
so
it's not a whole lot of time.
A little bit more. They'll get some backs here for Ohio State, so they'll have a second to clear out some waves to try and push, to try and get some vision in their own jungle. It's a huge reason why they can't do a lot right now, is they cannot step into their jungle at all.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tough time here for the side of Virginia Commonwealth. But the minions are pouring into their base. The Jinx is going to love this. Vladimir is going to like it too. At this point, I think if you're the best Garchomp, you're telling him, hey buddy, you're not farming any of these waves. I'm sorry. You're going to be low econ, and we're going to invest in our 2 main carries. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to find a way. And Trancing a little too far here. Well, he is going to heal up quite a bit. He's taking a lot of damage himself. And Miller's going to come in from the side, and Aurelia is going to cut him off, and then Trancing just dies.
It dies for nothing, and that's the front line, right? At the end of the day, we talked about, hey, maybe Jarvan's going to be the front line. The Vladimir is as close to a front line as they've got right here without the Jarvan. So this Jarvan's going to have to do a lot to be able to protect the rest of the team. And with 5 players here from OSU starting the push into the base, you see the Aphelios in the bot lane. We see the Hecarim, the Aurelia, the Lulu in the mid lane, all trying to push waves in together. They're all grouping up in the bot lane now. It's going to be turning really brutal here for VCU in a moment for them to try and get a huge amount done.
15 seconds until Vladimir is back up with minions starting to get into the base. Super wave in the mid lane, super wave in the top lane. It's just a matter of what Ohio State wants to do. They're looking to back off because Entrancing is up shortly. Dragon coming up in 2 seconds. Baron coming up in 3 seconds. And I imagine that the Ohio State University shouldn't have many issues trying to secure either objective.
No, I don't expect it either. This Baron should go very quickly. They could probably just push Delight and 1 to tank. Delight was able to take it really quickly before. It doesn't have the greatest guns in the world, but they'll be good enough. I'm curious to see if VCU tries to challenge for this Cloud Drake. We do see Baby Gromp down here already, looking to clear a little bit of the vision, but no one's really moving yet.
Yeah, and they don't really need to, right? Ohio State can just wait until multiple members are showing in the base to clear out these minion waves. They see the Jinx, they see the Vladimir, they decide it is now go time, and they are going to take out the Baron. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, they're going to send Cyborg to take the Dragon. Maybe Gromp is around, so Cyborg wisely just backing off, going to make sure that They don't give away an objective for free, as this should be the last Baron that Ohio State University is going to need.
I think it is. Any more than this Baron, and you start to look a little bit and go, are we sure that we're there yet? Are you sure we can actually close this game out with 2 Barons in a row? Fire is going to see Baby Gromp here, just with the sweeper. No engage will be needed. Nice EQ flag and drag over the wall there. Just Baby Gromp's trying to use himself here as a human ward. See if they can kind of jump on anyone coming nearby, but nothing yet. Fire's going to be alone here. Yeah, Fire's going to be alone here. 4 people.
Rest of the team is showing up to try to help him out. Fire going to use Between Worlds. He's going to get to the other side, but he's going to get Cataclysmed on. He hops out of the Cataclysm with Garchomp in hot pursuit. The rest of the team come to show up. It's a shutdown onto the Jarvan, but here comes Cyborg as he hops onto Handsomest Korean and blows him up. Baby Gromp was the next to fall. The Polymorph is there, but Yetsu is going to die too. The best Garchomp forced a flash over the wall, and Trancing couldn't get close to that fight, and it's going to be him and Garchomp the last one standing. And Trancing going all the way in. He knows he has to try to take out the light. He's going to burst him out. The Hemo Plague's not going to be enough. The CC is too much. And the Ohio State University are going to put an exclamation point on this game and take game 1.
Yeah, there was so much damage there on the Aphelios that it kind of didn't matter what the Vladimir did. It was a very reasonable game here from VCU with the comp that they had, what they could do, but it just felt like once the mid lane got out of control, there was nothing that VCU could do against the poke that Aurora had.
Yeah, I mean, Fire was just so strong in that game, was bullying people left and right, causing a whole lot of problems. And I want to give a lot of credit to Entrancing. They had a pretty solid game, but it just felt like that one death in the top lane was so unnecessary. They lost so much off of it. It felt like the case of the strongest player on your team trying to do a little bit too much in that game. And ultimately, while I don't think that the Ohio State University was going to end up losing, Entrancing dying there pretty much snuffed out any chance of VCU being able to come back in the game. Mechatronic, what do you think the deal is here with the side of VCU? What do you think they need to do in order to come back around and potentially get a dub in game 2?
I'm going to start with this. Let's throw out the Kiana in the mid lane. I know it's a comfort pick for the best Garchomp. I understand that. I just think Assassins are really bad right now, and no matter how good you are on Assassins, if you pick an Ahri instead, it's still going to be way better than you pick an Assassin there, especially into something like an Aurora, right? The second you see an Aurora come up, you know that they've got a range advantage on you, they've got a poke advantage on you, and they've got a release date advantage on you. It's a new champion. Like, what are you going to do? It's better than Kiana. Like, looking at the pools for the mid lane or on VCU, there's a Yone in the pool, there's a Sylas in the pool, there's a Vex in the pool, there's an Ahri, a Kali. Those are all champs that are really good right now in the meta, with maybe the exception of Vex and Sylas. But Yone, Akali, Ahri are all really, really good champs right now. I'd like to see a bit more proactivity in the mid lane. I love the Vladimir pick in top lane. I think that worked out really well. And I think the Jarvan, actually, regardless of what the stats at the end of the day said, worked out really well. I think you may need to play a little bit more through bot lane, protect the mid laner a little bit more, and you can kind of see. We saw some like spots of light there, because we did see that one fight from VCU where they did bring it to the Ohio State and win the fight. We just need to see more of that and a little earlier.
Yeah, they just bled out a little bit too much gold through early lane states and plates being taken by the side of the Ohio State University. VCU is going to have to clean that one up if they want to have a shot here in game 2. We're going to take a very short break, and when we return, we'll give you the game 2 draft between VCU and the Ohio State University. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in, everybody, to the Unified Collegiate League here in fall 2024, where we've got the Ohio State University versus Virginia Commonwealth University, as we are already getting into the picks and the bans here, Mechatronic, after we did see a pretty solid game one, where ultimately the Ohio State University, they came to play, and they got the dub.
They in fact did come to play. This was the first draft that we saw. It was really good from the Ohio State side on their draft. The VCU side did leave a little to be imagined there. And we do see a lot of new bands. I don't think any of these bands were seen in the first game. The Silas, the Aurora, the Leona, the Morgana, the Gwen. Like, these are all brand new bands. Teams going for new stuff. And there's the Viego for Ohio State.
Yeah, the Gwen and the Silas were carryovers from the prior game, but getting that first pick Viego out for the Ohio State University should be a pretty good thing for Miller 68. That's his second best champion, right? Hecarim was, it's definitely top 5 for him, but it goes for him, Master E, Viego. What I found really interesting is that Master E was available, and he elected not to pick it. On the other side, we're going to see a Kaisa lock.
Kaisa's a little bit different of a carry than Jinx is. You'll see a little bit more late game, a lot more close-up combat. So that could be something that we look at for the rest of this draft here, is how close do they want to have this combat, whereas previously with the last game, there's a little bit, well, not as close. I think we'll go with that.
Oh my god, wait, we're going double void here.
Okay.
I haven't seen a Belveth in a competitive game in quite some time. I'm going to be quite honest with you, Mechatronic. I am excited to see it and see what's going to happen and how this is going to work out for the side of Baby Gromp. But it is a champion that can be stymied by CC. And Avaris, however, well, that champion's got plenty of CC.
Got a ton of CC on the ultimate, and well, mostly the ultimate. But I think Belveth, the last time I saw Belveth was Yike playing it like towards MSI or something like that. It hasn't been a particularly big competitive pick in a while. Nautilus Varus locked in quickly. A little unsure why they switched to the Nautilus first, but I guess it doesn't really matter too much. It's a really good kill bot lane to start. You want to get the Blight Sacks from Varus onto your opponent, hit the E, hit the WQ, go from there, get a kill early. The Alistar, I like the Alistar here actually as a good kind of disengage tool with the Nautilus on the other side.
Yeah, I suppose it's fine. The only problem is Nautilus is going to hit level 6, and then whoever you target in the mid game is almost assuredly going to die, right? Because you can Varus ultimate to double that up. If Nautilus lands a hook onto the Kaisa, I mean, maybe Alistar's going to be able to disrupt him in midair. Maybe he'll be able to headbutt him closer to his own turret if we see an overcommit from the Ohio State University support. Second half of the bans coming through this Nasus ban, getting taken away once again. They really don't want to give that one over to Cyborg or potentially even Fire. Despite the fact that, as you mentioned, it had been nerfed just a little bit. I think it's still good. I just think that good champions right now are, it's not conducive to a Nasus meta.
No, I don't think so either. I think Nasus was good a couple weeks ago. I do like the Yone ban here for Ohio State. I don't think VCU is going to go anywhere near Akiana again this game. And so I think starting to ban out the rest of the champions that we want to see from the best Garchomp is probably a good way to go for Ohio State.
Definitely the way to go here. VCU still has their their mid lane and top lane options open. And remember, we saw that the assassin-esque Kiana was not really the move. And Ohio State, this time respecting the Vladimir, they're going to take that one off the board. And this could be, and it is, exactly what we wanted to see, Mechatronic. We are getting a Syndra for the side of VCU. Will we get the time-honored tradition of Syndra versus Orianna?
Well, it looks like we're going to have one handshake in each game so far. We had the Jinx Aphelios handshake in game 1. This game, it's looking like a Syndra Orianna handshake, assuming this Ori gets locked in. Orianna's a champ that basically every mid laner knows how to play at this point. She's been out for about ever. And she's a really, really good and stable champ in the mid lane with a lot of damage late game. This should be the 1 AP threat. Camille getting locked in would be interesting. Camille is definitely a champion that Cyborg likes to play. A lot of dive there with the Viego and the Camille.
Yep, super hyper indexed into damage Ohio State University is going to have, and we'll see what VCU opts into. You already have one tank in the Alistar. Jack's, pretty good option into Camille. Renekton, the biggest Camille counter, is off the table. VCU is actually the ones that ban that, so there's not too many options here, especially that Entrancing likes to play. And it looks like they're going to have to default to the Ornn here, so the team compositions are locked in here, Mechatronic, and I have to say, I think there's a little bit of discourse here. This Ornn, this Alistar, along with, the Syndra, Bel'Veth, Kai'Sa, it doesn't feel like it's in harmony. I don't know if they have the damage for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So Kai'Sa and Ornn and Bel'Veth all kind of, not even Ornn. Kai'Sa and Bel'Veth and Alistar kind of want to go in a bit. Syndra wants to stay on the outside. Ornn's really good at putting the Ornn horn out, getting knockups, and then kind of just tanking. But when everyone is so deep in a fight, right? When Kai'Sa's in the front line with Bel'Veth and Alistar and Ornn, how much does the tankiness of the Ornn really matter? You have to be really, really good in order to be able to kind of eat a lot of those skill shots. And most of the skill shots that Ohio State has are skill shots that don't matter, that won't just hit the Ornn. It's not like you're looking at Ezreal Q, that Ornn's going to start blocking them. The Orianna is going to just R your entire team, W your entire team. Camille will go and sit down and lock down your Syndra or your Kai'Sa, and it becomes very difficult to have a team fight there.
Yeah, it just seems like that despite your tankiness, you're just going to get shredded through. The question does become what Orianna build we're going to see here. If we're going to see more of the Shred You build with the Leandries, just as an example, maybe even a Blackfire Torch is not necessarily the best choice on Orianna, but it's still valid. Or if you're just going to go straight up for Luden's Companion and try to do a bunch of damage to the Syndra and take advantage of your lane, really. With Varus's W and the Blight stacks, even the tanks will still get chunked. So yeah, it seems like Ohio State University has the answers for champions that were picked before they had, after they had already made their choices.
I think Orianna here in this game just goes for pure damage. I don't think you worry too much about magic penetration or anything. The reasoning is she's the solo AP player over on the Ohio State team. Varus and Camille on their own are famously tank shredders. And Viego is almost certainly going to build Blade of the Rune King in the first item or so, and that's a % max health item right there. There's going to be a lot of AD cut through, and I think that they're going to need to worry a lot about armor and max health over on the VCU side on the Alistar and the Ornn. Too much to really start thinking about worrying about the magic resistances to hit the Orianna. On the other side, right, VCU's comp is very AD focused other than this Syndra. Both teams just have this mid lane to hit through. I'm interested on the Kai'Sa build because there's been some kind of all over the place with Kai'Sa. You can kind of chuck any attack speed item on the Kai'Sa, including Nashor's Tooth for a while here. And the question is, do we see the Kai'Sa go maybe a little bit more poke to try and play a little bit further away and let the Bel'Veth, the Alistar, the Ornn be the front line and let Kai'Sa stand further back with the Syndra?
Yeah, I think that we'll probably see the standard static shiv into Winsu's Rageblade build out of the Kai'Sa here. You need a little bit more wave clear if you're the side of VCU. And at that point, it means it's going to take at least 3 items for this Kai'Sa to really come online. So I really want to focus in on the jungle matchup here, Mechatronic, because I think that these are some of the key champions for both of these teams. One of these champions gets ahead. They have the ability to take over the game. It just feels like that on the side of the Ohio State University, that Camille is the nice backup plan. You get a nice calm lane, you get to scale. And I don't necessarily think that VCU has that really solid backup plan.
Just a thing to look out for level 1. Do not be freaked out here if Bel'Veth tries to go for a Raptors invade really early. Bel'Veth players love to go and try and steal the enemy Raptors and then grab that bit of the jungle if they can and fight really early. On Bel'Veth, you have a lot of level 1, 2, 3. You have a lot of pressure on the enemy jungler. Watch to see if Baby Gromp takes that and tries to use that pressure to their advantage to get a little bit of early game presence over this Viego.
Yeah, I think the supports should also be able to do a lot to help or disrupt the opposing junglers. I think that whoever gets control of this bottom lane first, Viego decides, hey, I want to go invade this bottom side. Varus has a much easier time clearing out the wave. That means that Nautilus will be able to get the first move. And a Nautilus Viego versus a Bel'Veth, well, I like the odds for Nautilus Viego, but it is very similar on the other side. Just as long as the Alistar would, take care of their Headbutt Pulverize combo. So we'll see what kind of impact these roles have on the game, because it does feel like that jungle support is the strongest two roles in competitive play like we have right now, and that's the reason why.
I mean, yeah, we see that teams all over are still, even though lane swaps are basically dead, they're still moving champs into a better matchup across the board. So jungle support are helping to actually push that and try and force the teams into better matchups. The thing that we got to look at here, though, I know we've talked about every other. The mid lane is the catalyst for this, though, right? We saw 5Fire on the Aurora last game get a absolutely massive lead against the best Garchomp. If that happens again,
throw everything else out the window.
Yeah, no matter what we talk about, the Kaisa build versus how Camille is going to engage on you versus the level 1 with Bel'Veth and Via, none of that matters if 5Fire gets ahead on Orianna. That's where this game starts and ends if you're on the Ohio State side. Can you get 5Fire ahead on Orianna?
Yeah, and 5Fire did a good job of doing it himself to be able to get ahead and get the job done. But obviously we got to talk about it in the context of the champions. Obviously, if 5Fire is going to come in and is going to get 2 kills within the first 10 minutes, then the conversation shifts from it's the junglers fighting versus actually the mid laners being the most important part of the game. As we are on to Summoner's Rift for game 2 of this best of 3 series. The Ohio State University already up 1-0. They are on the blue side, VCU on the red side.
Yeah, this poking early won't matter too much. Oh, wait. What's going on here? Hold on. Ohio State switched players in between games.
Oh, they did? Oh, 5Fire is out.
5Fire is out. 5150 is now in the 80 carry role.
Yeah.
The Light's playing support, and Haniagra is playing jungle.
Yeah, and the initial support for the side of the Ohio State University who had stepped in is now playing mid lane. All right, that changes up a lot, but you know what? We roll with it and see if the Ohio State University can also roll with it.
Yeah, I mean this does give me a little bit more faith in VCU for the moment. Right, you see how that may be a little bit better of a matchup for them. The best Garchomp is going to get a really bad trade early there. Take a lot of health in this lane against 2M2MC. Just becomes... Look how far VCU's bot lane is shoved off this wave. They cannot get anywhere close to it. It's really hard for them to play against it to begin with, just because of Varus poke that they use.
Yep, now this changes a whole lot.
We didn't get
to talk about. Yeah, now this means that. So Haniagra, must say, it'll be very interesting to see them come in and play this Viego. I like that they played a carry champion, but it does seem a little weird. I think this puts a little bit more pressure on Cyborg having a good time up here and making sure that Baby Gromp doesn't take advantage of him in any way. And maybe this Camille now get kills in lane or something like that. You saw what he was doing to Entrancing. Flash teleport, so no ignite for this lane, and is already having a pretty good time.
Already having a pretty good time. Ooh, the little stop there using the hook shot to stop Ornn. That was real nice.
Yeah, that was skilled stuff. That's how you know that Cyborg knows this stuff is. Haniagra coming down on the bottom side here. It looks like he's just going to go front facing as Yetsu is not going to have any way to get out other than using his flash. So a successful gank there. Meanwhile, Cyborg taking a lot of damage here, starting to get in scary territory.
So there's a little interesting thing that Entrancing is doing in this matchup that is very micro-centric. You notice that in Trancing, whenever they're hitting the Camille to start, they're using an auto attack to make sure that the shield is a physical shield. There's a lot of damage going through the
down.
beginning.
The light forced the flash away. He will take a lot of damage for himself as Handsomest Korean gets to hold on to both his summoner spells. So I see that as a win for VCU in the bottom lane.
I do too. I mean, health is something you can get back. Summoner spells take a bit. Entrancing is, so going back to the thing from before, Entrancing is hitting the Camille with an auto attack first, meaning the Camille shield comes up as an AD shield.
Oh, this is over. Here comes Baby Gromp. Cyborg doesn't have the mana. The hook going down on the bottom side here, so there's a fight on two fronts here, but it does look like the light's gonna be the first one to die. 5150 knocked to the side as the chase is still on. Handsome is Korean, flashing forward, a double kill, and on the top side, as expected, Baby Gromp got a kill, and VCU coming out ahead early.
Yeah, you see a flash for a flash exchanged right there from 2M to MC for best Garchomp's flash. It'll be even there for both of them, but they're both out of mana. They're both at roughly 50% health. It's going to be a back for both of them, and 2M to MC is a bit up in CS right now to start the mid lane matchup, but that's not where it matters. Handsomest Korean got a really good flash there to try and get both members of the team on Ohio State, and they were successful in that. Entrancing just keeps running into Cyborg here, just continuing to make sure that he procs the shield, just procs the passive every 2 seconds, make sure to knock up, and use the fact that he is playing Ornn to do something good. Baby Gromp's here too.
Yeah, but so is Haniagra, and the best Garchomp is a little low, and the flash forward means it's a pretty easy kill. Baby Gromp trying to get a kill back, and they will, but they get shoved into the turret. Haniagra is there. It is a double kill for this Viego, so turnabout is fair play for the side of Ohio State University.
I mean, if you're going to be Baby Gromp there and you're going to go in, I think it's a good enough way to go in.
Yeah, nice flash there.
Yeah, really.
150, by the way. That was pretty sick. 3 stacks on Yetsu, so see if he looks for a little bit more damage. But, yeah, you know, so they did burn the flash out of that Varus, and Varus, a champion not known for being able to dodge out of many things, so Yetsu has an opportunity to go back in with Handsomest Korea being so strong.
All these members are just trying to get to a place where they can play the game a little bit better. Now, Handsomest Korean is really on a good start to this game. This 2-0 is really nice. The pickaxe and Retric start is going to be...
Oh, here we go. Yetsu.
Go in.
Yeah, he is going to get hooked. Baby Gromp trying to get in closer. Yetsu has backed off just a little bit. Now they're going to commit all the way to the light, who has no flash, and he will fall. It's Baby Gromp getting the kill, but Haniagra coming in, looking to potentially turn this one around. Yetsu is getting marked and tagged and is going to go down. It's a 3rd kill for this Viego, so they may get a 1-for-1. Garchomp and this Orianna in a bit of a fight, but nobody's slinging too many spells at each other yet. Oh, never mind. Shockwave went down. Didn't do too much, but it went down.
Shockwave went down. It's not a long enough cooldown to really care, but it's not great in this lane. It will force best Garchomp to back here, and 2M2MC can try and push this 10 CS lead into something more like 20 and make this middle lane really difficult for Garchomp to play.
Yes, you can see Haniagra is nearby, has the ultimate available. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Handsomest Korean is going to get to walk forward. He's up a level. He gets the shield. The Chains of Corruption is there, but out of mana was 5150. Meanwhile, fighting in the mid and at top lane, and ends up being a kill for Entrancing, but a 4th kill for Haniagra.
A 4th kill for Haniagra becomes very difficult for everyone else to play. I have played a lot of Viego in my... and it's really difficult to play against a fed Viego with items. The Blade of the Ruined King has been picked up sub 10 minutes.
That's insane. Sub 10 minutes? Sub 8 minutes, Mechatronic?
Okay, sub a lot of minutes. It's really quick for this Blade of the Ruined King.
That's insane.
And just
Haniagra is going to pop. Like, it should be able to carry this game, because, by the way, while they're down in kills, it's a 500 gold differential, because look at the CS in the mid lane. Bot lane's not doing so well, but they're close, and neither is top lane, but it's close compared to a large win in the mid lane.
Just to remind everyone what Blade of the Ruined King does.
Oh, you just found out. If you don't know, now you know, as Haniagra looking for a little bit more, doesn't get stunned, so Yetsu is going to be targeted up here. 2M2MC forces the flash over the wall, but Haniagra is going to follow him up. And now the best Garchomp is completely called out. Haniagra is denied kill number 7. This one goes over to the Oriana as the Ohio State University come together to make a big team play.
Not only is Haniagra on 6, 2M2MC has had a really nice little game in the mid here, dying 1 time in a trade, but 1 kill, 5 assists, a 30 CS against their lane opponent. It means that Haniagra is going to have a running mate there with him. He'll gets knocked up, but it won't be a huge amount of damage. Hook shot into the Ornn.
Yeah, you mentioned it, having a nice running mate there. I mean, you know, you put the ball in his hands and he's going to make plays. 2M2MC doing his best Chris Paul out on the Rift with plenty of assists to stuff the stat sheet. Not quite landing a hook here. And
I don't know if that would have been a good hook if Delight landed it, to be honest.
yeah, it seems a little rough. Now, the good news is it's only Static Shift for Handsomest Korean. But Static Shift is, you know, still like a valid first item. It will stack up damage over time onto them, and in a fight, it gives fine stats compared to what you see for 5150.
Yeah, it feels like it's the best item for Kai'Sa first, unless you're going for a pure AD Kai'Sa, which in that case I see like, oh, maybe you go Kraken Slayer or something.
No, it's still the best item. She needs the wave clear.
She does need the wave clear. See if Best Garchomp can do anything. We talked about this earlier. It's kind of feeling the
shock. Oh, caught him on the lip of the shockwave. So close, flashing forward. 2M2MC closing it out, but now a play being made on the Handsomest Korean. Here's Baby Gromp. They're going to target out Haniagra, who's in the middle of everybody, taking a lot of damage and is shut down. But now 5150 has to try to do something. Baby Gromp doing their thing, a double kill, picking up parkour and swoodling around in every which direction.
So we talked about the carry jungler over for Ohio State, but the carry jungler for VCU is starting to have a little of a game now. That's 5 kills now for the Belveth and a double kill there. And Handsomest Korean didn't die. Had to use the ult to jump in, but he's still trying to force this wave forward.
Yeah, despite the bottom lane going their way, look at the gold once again, Mechatronic. It's now 700 gold in favor of the Ohio State University. 2M2MC is just running this mid lane, doing their best Fire cosplay right now, to be honest.
Yeah, really? You sure? We're sure they're not the same player?
Yeah, you sure you didn't just change names in between games?
They changed accounts. They changed.
Whoa. That's a problem. That's against the rules, I'm pretty sure. So, hope they're not doing that.
Any rules, people? This is a joke. Just like to cover myself here.
I'm legally obligated to inform Unified that was a joke.
This is in fact a joke. Okay, we'll see Haniagra trying to take the dragon here. It will be a pretty free dragon. The only person anywhere near is Handsomest Korean, seeing the bot lane, but Handsomest Korean wants to sit and farm the wave. That's it. That's the whole job right now of this Kai'Sa, is sit and farm the wave and do not die.
Nope.
Okay.
You know what?
They're doing
a pretty okay job of it so far. Not super far ahead in CS, but far enough ahead in the kills, doing a whole lot. Meanwhile, up in the top side, they're going to try to make a play on to Cyborg. Cyborg using the Hextech Ultimatum to try and kite this one out, but it was just a futile effort. 6 kills for Baby Gromp.
Again, it feels... In Transit, it's doing a really, really good job on this Ornn to try and negate the Camille of it all. It could be really... If Camille got ahead, it could be really, really bad here. But Camille is kind of getting nullified, neutralized in this top lane. As Haniagra looks to go for a kill on the best Garchomp, and that's
clean combo.
Very
made it look easy.
Dead Syndra.
They made that one look easy. The Shockwave and Viego, such a heartbreaker. Kill number 7 for him. Not going to actually mean a whole lot because of how far behind the best Garchomp is, but because Syndra is in this game, you do need to build Mercury treads. As Baby Gromp, it just takes advantage of 2M2MC staying to just try and take more plates, and yeah, you got him, but you gave your life for it.
Baby Gromp definitely had a little bit of a worse start than Haniagra did, but at this point, they're basically even in gold, right? You see a full item plus a little bit plus boots built for both of them, and it's going to be really a question of who can carry in jungle harder right now. The mid lane looks like it's towards 2M2MC, and it's the question of can they pull the lead that 2M2MC has to something real.
Yeah, and one of the bigger problems that the Ohio State University has this game is they don't really have the most hard CC. You know, like there are stuns, but they're skill shot based. You've got your point and click out of the Nautilus, sure, to utilize on Baby Gromp. But if you're targeting Baby Gromp, I mean, Handsome is Korean has an opportunity to go crazy in some of these fights. So you can see Haniagra wants these grubs, but Entrancing able to get there first. Baby Gromp coming over the wall. You'd love to have more grubs for this Camille. Orianna on the way over does have Shockwave available. So they're going to force Entrancing up to the top side. Baby Gromp is going to need to slide out as Rift Herald to spawn. So 2 of the grubs are just going to die for nothing. Scab of the Weak is going to land on 2. Here comes Call the Forge God. Shockwave on the other side. Over onto Baby Gromp. They've got enough damage. Are they going to be able to take him out? They are. It's going to be a shutdown. Cyborg off to the side trying to survive. As Handsome as Korean is going to be the target, but they managed to take out the Viego, and now they're leading the fight. They have great protection in the engage on Delight. It's good enough as they're going to tag him for a double kill. Orianna getting stunned. Handsome as Korean going crazy in this fight with a triple kill.
It's again, every single time we have one of these fights, a question of junglers. You saw Baby Gromp go down early, and it looked like Ohio State had a little bit of a shot there to do a lot more damage. But Handsome Korean comes in and just starts hitting autos every single time. Kaisa has that great five attack passive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 attack passive. It's 4, and then you have to hit another attack. This passive that helps you just shred through these tanks. And you see Handsome Korean using the fact that he's got the Berserker Creep, got the Static Shift to just continue pushing the attacks every 2 seconds. And ult was just used onto Baby Gromp here, but he's going to still keep walking around.
He's taking a lot of damage, but Yetsu is here to help out. Good flash out of 5150, and they're ready for the turnaround. Balling him up, Blazer, as that's going to be a kill going over to the Varus, and now Yetsu is going to be the next target, and he's going to fall too. Orianna picking that one up on top of it. Great TP by 2M2MC.
2M2MC there just really trying to continue to push his lead in advance. Haniagra trying to grab Entrancing now. This Ornn has not gone down this game. There's still been a tank in the top lane.
Yeah, but Entrancing will finally fall, picking up his first death. Haniagra, once again, feels like this guy is everywhere, picking up kill number 8 and a 2,000 gold lead for the Ohio State University. And, you know, Cyborg might be able to just take this turret. You do have 4 grubs. It could be enough.
I mean, also it's Camille.
Yes.
Even without the grubs. Camille shreds turrets, shreds champions. Just there's a lot of shredding going on. Could be a barbecue stand with the amount of
Shredded
shredding.
wheat. I like
going
shredded
for-
barbecue better, honestly.
yeah,
You see, I really didn't want you to say that. I didn't eat before I hopped on the cast, and now I'm hungry.
I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that. But you know what?
Yeah,
Haniagra is
okay,
not
buddy. No,
sorry
you're
for?
not.
He's not sorry for taking this Rift Herald. That's going to be 2. They've got 4 grubs already. Now they've got a Rift Herald. They're going to try and use it in mid lane to push this advantage. That'll be all 3 tier 1 turrets gone. TP in mid.
Yeah, VCU well grouped up here, looking for an engage potentially in the mid lane. Rift Herald getting dropped, turret falling, Baby Gromp with a double knock up there. Here's the opportunity for them to make a play, and they do. They make the fast play on the Haniagra. Now, Varus is going to be the next target. He's going to get stunned up, and the rest of the squad is going to converge on him and take him out. A shutdown going over to the best Garchomp. It's now a 5v3. It looks like VCU will take their prize.
Yeah, they didn't have to use a huge amount of abilities there, right? They used the ultimate from Ornn to get the engage there, and didn't have to use a huge amount more after that. You used the Syndra ult just to confirm the kill. They did a lot from auto attacks and didn't lose a lot of health.
Yep, and well done and good on them to recognize that, hey, Orianna's not around. They're a big team fighter. So, you know, it's just not going to be a factor in this fight. However, is waiting on the side. That's the juiciest shockwave I've seen in my life. Ooh, flashes forward for it and gets a flash for flash. You know, he could have just queued it, but that's all right. Cyborg coming in from the side. They want a little bit more. They're going to target the Alistar first, and he's going to get shredded and go down. Haniagra now going to become the cow. Knocks Baby Gromp to the side, trying to take him out, and he will go into stasis and survive. And now it's Kaisa who's the one who's knocked up, and they're going to burst him out too. And they do manage to take him out with Haniagra surviving a shutdown for Orianna, and Ohio State bites back.
Viego's one of the scariest champions in a team fight, because if you get one reset on Viego, just one, you start doing stuff like that where Viego just continuously is able to stun and go and deal damage. Delight is going to get caught for a second here. There's a lot of tower shots being taken, and that's a dead Nautilus. I think that's the right reaction.
Unfortunate. You know, it's just kind of how it goes sometimes. You know, a little too big for your britches there, Delight. You know, you start happy gaming when things start going well for you. And after Ohio State had the bad play in the mid lane, but had the revenge, you know, they're happy gaming. Like Cyborg is happy gaming here too. See if he can make it back to his turret. That shot is up. He will be able to. Although here comes the call of the Forge God. They do not. I like the idea, but not going to be able to make that play out.
You could see it happen though. There was like some.
The gears were turning.
There's some visualization there. You could see the call of the Forge God going in. Belveth doing a nice little dash in, W up, kill, and get out maybe, hopefully. But they determined that Camille had a little too much health there.
Say they might try to make a play on the Haniagra here as they're infesting the bottom side jungle. He's got a Sundered Sky available, but Baby Gromp is going to walk right into the Light, and that's going to tip them off that there's a fight here. The Light has a lot of HP, but will eventually fall. Shockwave goes down. It's quite a bit of damage, but not enough damage. As once again, they're fighting with an improper amount of members, and now 2M2MC is in trouble. Yetsu is going to pop his ultimate to stay alive. Another 3-for-0 here for VCU as they are taking advantage of the Buckeye miscues.
Well, it's not for nothing. They're going to get a top tower here, which doesn't seem like the greatest thing, but a tier 2 top lane tower here is a lot of space that Ohio State is going to be able to use there. The entire topside jungle for VCU is now enemy territory.
Yeah, you do force Cyborg to use the teleport down here. Going to engage on the Baby Gromp because the Light is in the area. Big double knockup coming down. And now it's VCU who's overstaying their welcome as the Light gets credit for the first kill. And ideally we'll be able to give the second one over to Cyborg if Cyborg doesn't die first. I mean, in transit there's so much. Cyborg's got to stay away for his abilities to come back up. And he will be able to take him out finally.
So it makes that trade that they just had a little bit more palpable for both teams, a little bit more palatable. Niagara is going to try and get something on the outside. But super tanky. Handsomest Korean is going to go down.
Kaisa getting tagged there. Yeah, that means that Baron could be on the menu here for the side of the Ohio State University. 5150 is a little low, and it doesn't appear that there are any fruits to be able to pick up here. The hook goes down onto the Syndra, and now over the wall, Haniagra coming through. A big shockwave! That's going to land onto 2. Exactly what you want done there. 2 more kills for the Ohio State University, and they should have no problem securing this Baron.
Yeah, Viego just jumps over the wall, says, we don't need to do the Baron anymore. Give me the ball.
Oh, Baby Gromp.
I
thought he was going to go in. I thought he was going to find the angle through try and just say, you know what, I'm going to go for it, but wisely did not. You know, it would have been a pretty silly move to do so because you're just going into death at that point.
For the first time in this game, we've actually seen the goal lead kind of blossom to a real amount. It was kind of fluttering 1K to 2K to each team. Every single time they took a fight, it would go towards Ohio State for a minute, and then VCU for a minute, and back and forth and back and forth. And now it's this 7,000 gold lead for Ohio State, and you see a lot of the gold sitting on this Orianna. 3 full items against the 1.5 for Syndra.
Yeah, and a lot of damage. Teleport coming in here. They really want to make sure that there is no bad fight to take here. Now Haniagra is going to be the next target with no turret available. Cyborg doing their thing up on that bot and inner turret, which means the Hex Gates are going to get used. Meanwhile, 2M2MC in the top lane trying to split. I like that they're doing what they can to pull apart VCU, and for the first time, they haven't gotten super punished for it, but it does feel like Cyborg is super punishable right here. He's going to go right into Handsomest Korean. Is now going to try to link up with Orianna on the top side. Is going to get hit with the Scatter of the Weak. Is trying desperately to get away. And no, that's so illegal, man. There's no way this guy gets away. Call the Forge God coming through, and they will be able to take him down. A shutdown going over. I mean, he was 2 and 3, and he had a shutdown. That's crazy.
There's a lot of split pushing. Haniagra's got to ult out, though.
Yeah, but the question is, does he want to go back in? I know he's feeling himself this game, but Dragon will go to the side of VCU, their second Dragon of the game. So while kills are even, the gold is not. It's still a 7,000 gold deficit for VCU. But now they're going to make a play on the 2M2MC, flash for flash, as he's got to try to find a way out. The Shockwave only is going to hit 1 member, and it was not Baby Gromp. So down you go, Orianna. The Light going to be the next target. He's stunned up, and they got plenty of burst damage. They're just losing all their Barons, Mechatronic.
All the Barons that they got, all the good things they got that's going down. Have you ever heard the copy pasta about if you're up, you fight to push the lead. If you're even, you fight to get the lead. If you're down, you fight. Because if you don't fight, what else are you doing in the game? That's what's going on here from the VCU side. They're taking every single fight that they humanly can to try and get a lead back. And
Yeah,
it's kind of working.
It was the MLXG copy pasta.
It is.
Yeah, you know, of course I know that. I've been watching League since Season 3.
I was pretty sure it was MLXG, but due to my Shirelia's
Gaff earlier,
Gaff
in
earlier.
the first game, that's wise.
I'm
You know, it
going
could have
away
been
from
worse. You could have
specifics.
said like a random name and I would have been like, what are you talking about?
yes, the river copy pasta.
Oh, yes,
fighting.
exactly. My favorite. You know.
Realistically, I could have said it was the Malrang copy pasta, and it would have been kind of okay.
Yeah, I would have probably been like, you mean the MLXG one? I'm pretty sure that wasn't Mallory, but you know. I digress. The gold lead is at least closing a little bit more here. There's been a lot of nice plays out of VCU recently. It just feels like every time VCU makes a good play and gets 3 kills, they allow the Ohio State to do the same thing to them. Very polite gamers over on the side of VCU, I must say.
They're trying to keep this even.
They're like,
trying to
"Oh,
keep
we
it
are,
even."
listen, we got a couple of illegal kills, so you know what? We're going to give you guys a couple back. We got to be fair.
I don't think we were kind of expecting this game to get to the point that we needed to talk about ornaments.
But it's starting to get there.
But we should talk about ornaments now.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Because we see the sun fight. Oh, there's a fight.
Oh,
Never mind.
Never
Hold on
mind.
to ornaments.
This could be the end of game sequence because Handsomest Korean is in a lot of trouble. Baby Gromp in the area, but it
That
doesn't
guy's,
matter. Gonna go down. Looking for a lot more
No
damage.
Ornhorn.
Baby Gromp getting chunked out. Yetsu is gonna fall. Oriana wasn't even there, and now it's a 4v3 in the mid lane for right now with this shockwave starting to walk by, and that could spell disaster.
This
Middle
looks like end of the
inhibitor
game
turret.
here.
Yeah, the end of game sequence has started here as the middle inhibitor will fall, but it looks like the Ohio State University will
okay.
elect to walk it out.
All right. So they got a fight. They got a really good fight for them. I mean, Ornn used the Ornhorn, used the Call of the Forge God to start the fight there, and then could not get the return hit on it. Had to run away. There was no chance for them to continue that fight once Handsomest Korean died in the middle.
And Delight, not where he
Delight
should
can
be.
die here. It's kind of okay if Delight dies here. I mean, it's not ideal.
Yeah,
It's
luckily
kind of
he's going to
okay.
be able to get out. I mean, they got to stop doing that. They've been doing that all game long, and you know, even if it's like, oh well, you just got the support. I mean, he's down for 40 seconds. That ruins your tempo if
Yeah,
you're the Ohio State University, right? But you know, I mean, there's a lot that needs to be cleaned up on both sides here, but clearly a competitive game. Clearly some pretty solid players in this game as these junglers continue to go back and forth, 11 and 10 kills apiece on each.
So let's note a couple things.
Hold
here.
on, wait, real quick. Before you do that, I just noticed they have the same amount of kill participation.
Ooh.
Continue.
Very interesting. I want to note, first of all, over on the VCU side, we started talking about ornaments, and then a big fight happened. So
Yep.
these
Hurry up.
Ornn enhanced items, they're starting with the Ginsu's Rage Blade for Handsomest Korean, which I think is the correct choice there, is to start pushing this Kaisa, who had a really good early game lead and still has a really good lead in the bot lane, start and try and force that lead a little up. I like the Terminus buy as well for Kaisa, which means they'll be a little bit more tanky in these fights and hopefully survive a little bit longer. Over on the Ohio State side, Varus went the on-hit build, not the lethality build. Lethality build is generally better against squishy champions. The on-hit build, generally better against tanky champions. They're worried a little bit about the Alistar, the Bel'Veth, and this Ornn, and trying to chunk through all those champions. So the on-hit is going to be the better build here. And the Runan's Hurricane going to make sure that they apply that damage across multiple champions at once.
Just getting to the 27.5-minute mark here, just about. Cyborg going to push on the bottom side, force the Beskar Trump over, and you can see the pings going on to the Baron. The Ohio State University does not want to wait. They want to be able to take care of business here because somebody has to answer the Camille. With Oriana pushing in the top lane, they don't really have an idea that this is going on as Cyborg is continuing to cause problems. If you die here, you're screaming Worth in the chat. He's going to flash away, but his hook shot isn't quite up. He's going to force the flash out of Baby Gromp, but he doesn't slow Baby Gromp. And Handsomest Korean using his ultimate to get down closer. Sure, you're going to be putting the
Use the
Hextech
TP2.
ultimatum, but it's not going to be enough.
Ornn had to
Yeah.
TP in there to just
Yeah,
make sure that
I like that,
give a little
though.
support.
I like it because now this could be a 5v4 because Best Garchomp can teleport in. They're a man up right now. They want this dragon. See if the Ohio State University wants to fight with no Orianna Shockwave. It looks like they're just backing off.
Yeah, Haniagra had to use the ultimate to just kind of jump out of the pit. Nothing else that they can do there just to make sure they get out. It's 3 dragons right now.
That's something worth noting. That's something worth noting because if this game does not end in the next 4 minutes and 50 seconds, and VCU is able to pick up this Hextech Soul, that's massive. That is good attack speed. That's good ability haste. That's the passive that procs when you hit somebody. It slows them and does a little chain lightning a la Static Shiv. That's big. That is like a game-winning soul.
It is a game-winning soul. It's very difficult for them to kind of come back from that once you start getting a lot of that across multiple members. Maybe Ohio State trying to start clearing out some of this vision, gain back this top jungle.
And the Ohio State University just doesn't need to press a little too far forward here. Just get 1 or 2 picks and reset the fight and you'll be in good shape. Meanwhile, VCU, they need to make sure they're not getting picked off inside. So I love the setup here for the death rush they have going on. They're just in such a precarious spot. If Cyborg walks up a little bit more, they're going to let him walk up, and he wards it. And Cyborg is going to be in trouble. Getting hit with the Scab of the Week, they are going to be able to burst it out and take him down.
They're just pushing top lane.
Yep, they want that top inhibitor. So they will take the top inhibitor turret, but not the inhibitor. It's the rest of VCU. They want to make a play. Baby Gromp is ready to go in. Let's see where the Shockwave lands. Big 3-man knock up. The 2M2MC flashes forward. Is going to land it onto 2. But that means Handsome is Korean is able to free hit. Aniagra, though, gets on top of him. He's going to ult over to the side. So relative safety.
Oh, good stun,
5150,
good
though,
flash.
is kiting so well and doing tons of damage. Look at the moves out of 5150. What a fight out of this Varus. He's got a quadra kill. The question is, can they get this man the penta? After the fight he has, you know he damn well deserves it. Aniagra's going to take it for himself. That's just rude, as the Ohio State University uses Cyborg as a meat shield in the mid lane to take the set. And you know what? It was a pretty nice series out of them.
You know what? I think we went into the second game a little down on it, thinking it was going to maybe be a little bit of a harsher game 2 than it was game 1. But you know what? At the end of the day, this game 2 was close up until it, well, wasn't. So Ohio State's going to get a second win now.
Yep, they are in there now, 2-1. Realistically, I think they could be they could have been undefeated, but you know they had to take the loss to Penn State. But so far so good for them. And VCU going to be 0-2, sadly. Not exactly the start that they wanted, but a competitive game against the Ohio State University. You know, it's got to bode well for their confidence at the very least. I mean, they were competitive in the first game for a little while. I really liked what I saw out of Entrancing in that game 1 and in game 2 on the Ornn. So this team does have some things that they can hang their hat on, and with a little bit of improvement, could be a team that is going to be very competitive in this league.
I mean, they looked competitive in the second game already. The second game draft felt really good from them. It felt like the second game draft kind of was a little bit more how they wanted to play. It was a little too comfort in the first draft, a little better overall in the second draft.
Yeah, you know what? Not too bad. Very good stuff coming out here from the Ohio State University. We're going to take a very short break, and when we return, we will have a member of the winning team joining us for an interview. We will see you very soon.
All right, welcome back. Hello, 5150 from the winning Ohio State University team. Let's start off with an easy one. How many times do you say "the" before you say Ohio State on a general
Every
basis?
single time.
Every single time?
You have to. It's the law.
It's the law. Okay. You were brought in on the second game. You played the Varus in the second. How do you think that the second game went as compared to the first game, and what was with the jump in on the second game?
Okay, so we had two players that had to like leave because they had like prior commitments. It was, I think one had to Boston Maple Story, and the other one had to like raid and World of Warcraft. So, and they like rescheduled it like 9 times. So we just had to like throw me in because I'm normally like the AD carry, like I'd be the starter. But we have a 6-man roster, so Jason, the other guy who the FLE is from game 1, he played the first game because we like split time. And we had the full like roster in the first game, and then I just had to jump in on the second one. So like 5 minutes before that match, we were kind of like figuring out like, what's your champion pool? Like, can we set you mid? Can we put you support? Like, what's up?
Well, I'm glad that you guys figured it out because you hit Yanni and I for a little bit of a curveball there. We were very prepped for you to start the first game, and we're very confused when everyone was all over the. What do you think about the V? Did you watch both games or did you just watch the second?
I am legally required to watch both games. So
Awesome. Excellent.
Watched the first game.
So what did you think about the VCU draft in the first game as to compare it to how they kind of went in the second game and how it evolved through that and your guys' draft? The main thing I'm curious about is the Kiana and the Vladimir first game.
We were very confused in the first game because we kind of saw those picks get locked in, and we were just like, those are definitely some 4-5 picks that you can throw in there. That's something that you can do. I mean, the Vladimir didn't look too bad, but the Kiana was like completely inting the entire game, so it was not a good look from him. Maybe that's his only champ he can play. I don't know. The Cinder didn't look great either, so it's whatever. But I thought the first half of that draft was like okay. They had Milio Jinx. I don't know that if Milio is necessarily that support player's champion, but we kind of just got some comfort picks that we had. We got Aurora, that champion is crazy busted, so we just took that. And then we gave Cyborg an Irelia game because he deserved it. So
because he deserved it.
Yeah.
Why did he deserve an Irelia?
Because he's been on tank DT for a while.
Oh, okay.
We saw an Irelia spot and we were just like, yeah, we'll give it to him. And then the second draft, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it was kind of a little bit up in the air because of like the positional swaps that we had. They got Kai'Sa. I was really hoping to just like slime Kai'Sa because our support that Jason really could only play Nautilus when he was support. So we're just like, just give me Kai'Sa, please. And then they take it. I'm like, oh, that's not great. So, and then, yeah, so that was the way the draft came out. So that's what it looked like.
And then I guess one more thing, you're playing on this new patch. The whole anti-durability / durability-ish item update comes out a week ago, right?
Yeah.
It's a big change from how the game was being played in 14-19.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think that the current meta sits? You're an AD carry, so where do you think it currently sits in the AD carry pool? Because I mean, we saw Jinx, we saw Kai'Sa, we saw Varus. We've kind of went all over the place tonight. Where do you think that the AD carry pool sits?
I think that the AD carry pool is very, very good for AD carries that can build attack speed items well, and they don't have to rely on like crit items because they kind of got shafted considering like they upped like IE cost by 200, they upped collector by 200. Like it just doesn't itemize well for them, and they need way more time to come online. So I think champions like Varus, I think champions like Cogmore, I think anybody that can build Bork, Ginsu's, and just like shred tanks, because that's what you need right now, because tanks are completely busted. Then that's what I think is good. I mean, you saw even in the first game, like our Aurora is going Grasp on a mage. Yeah. Like I'll be honest, I don't like this meta, but it is what it is, and I'm gonna have to play it. So,
alrighty. Well, thank you very much for taking some time with us tonight. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. I expect nothing less than wins all around for Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
The Ohio State. I lied earlier. I did not say it every single time.
All right, that's gonna be it for us from the night. From myself and Yanni, we'll be back tomorrow night with Valorant. You'll see me and Time to Light tomorrow night. But other than that, thanks to production, thanks to everyone else that's here, and we will see you all next week for League of Legends. Tomorrow night for Valorant.